Time for a quick story time about New Zealand Parliament. When Labour came into power in 2017, the new Speaker of the House, Trevor Mallard, promised to make Parliament more family-friendly, just as Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern had announced that she was pregnant and would give birth as Prime Minister. This included allowing MPs to bring their babies into the chamber while Parliament was sitting. It also included building a playground on the front lawn of Parliament. It was designed to have a massive slide, and the playground would be built using natural materials to blend in with the surroundings, and would reflect the history of the land and the significance of its location. These designs were released and construction was underway. But then it came out that due to cost overruns or whatever, the park ended up costing New Zealand taxpayers an insane $572,000, with just the slide costing $243,000. At the time, the median household was $620,000, so not too far off from the cost of a home. But don't worry, the cost of the slide is no longer comparable to the price of the average house in New Zealand.
All around me are familiar faces.
But the playground was finally finished and had its grand opening on Children's Day in November 2019, where Jacinda Ardern had a nice speech as she was the Minister for Children, while Speaker of the House Trevor Mallard hogged the slide. Then came 2022. A massive anti-mandate protest took place on government grounds, where people put up tents and stayed there for weeks on end. They camped up around the Parliament playground, and many protesters' kids were seen using it. Mallard tried to deter the menaces from using his slide, even turning on the sprinklers and playing loud music to deter them, but they stayed resilient, and Mallard could not access his playground. On the 2nd of March, the police finally shut down the protest after much deliberation, going in with riot shields, towing cars, and arresting a bunch of unruly protesters. In retaliation, some protesters lit tents and trees on fire, as well as setting Mallard's slide ablaze. What a sad sight to see. I bet Trevor Mallard has every intention to rebuild, and there was even a crowdfunding site set up by a Wellington City councillor to raise funds for the rebuild, and they've already raised $20,000, which was like 10% of the cost to rebuild the slide. But you know, if we're going to rebuild, why don't they build a cooler playground instead of just a big slide? So I suggest, hear me out, a big flying fox from the top of the beehive all the way down. Who's with me?